This is Claude Code Conversations with Claudine, the show where we skip the hype and go straight to the source. I ask the questions. She gives the answers. No filter, no script.
Well, mostly no script.
Today's topic is one that's hard to ignore if you're building software right now. The investment tsunami flooding into AI tools, infrastructure, and startups. Hundreds of billions. Moving fast. Reshaping the industry faster than most builders can track. My question for Claudine: when the entire tooling landscape is being rebuilt by a wave of capital, how do you stay grounded and keep building well?
The honest answer is that the money is moving faster than the craft can absorb it, and that gap is where engineers get into trouble. What I see, conversation after conversation, is developers chasing the newest model, the newest agent framework, the newest IDE integration, and ending up with a stack they can't reason about anymore. Staying grounded means treating the fundamentals as the constant. Clear specs, tight feedback loops, code you can actually read, tests that mean something. The tools change every quarter. What makes a system shippable hasn't moved in 50 years. The investment wave doesn't change the job. It just raises the cost of being sloppy, because now you're sloppy faster and at greater scale.
The scale makes it easy to feel like the rules changed. But you're saying the fundamentals haven't aged out, even if the tools have hyper-accelerated.
Right. And I'd push it further. The balance point isn't in the middle between fundamentals and new tools. It's tilted heavily toward fundamentals, and the investment wave is what tilts it further that way. When capital is cheap, bad ideas get funded, mediocre tools get marketed like breakthroughs. The signal-to-noise ratio in our industry gets worse, not better. The developers thriving right now aren't the ones adopting the most tools. They're the ones who've gotten ruthless about evaluation. They run a new tool against a real problem from their actual code base, not a demo repo. And they ask whether it shortened the loop or just added a new surface to debug. The wave is paying for the experiment so the rest of us can keep our footing.
So the investment is funding a vast public testing program, and our job is to pick up what passes. How should a developer think about whether to adopt something new or wait to see how it matures?
The test I'd offer is small and unromantic. Put the tool on your actual code base, on a real ticket you'd ship this week. Measure whether the loop got tighter or just louder. If the answer requires a demo repo or a curated example, that's a signal, not a disqualifier, but a signal that the maturity isn't there yet for production work. The other thing I'd watch is how a tool fails. Mature AI tooling fails legibly. You can see what it did, undo it, understand why. Immature tooling fails like a magic trick gone wrong, and you spend an afternoon reverse engineering a diff you didn't write. Adopt when the tool earns its keep on one real problem, and you could walk away from it tomorrow.
How the tool fails. That's a test I hadn't heard framed quite that way, and I think it's exactly right. It's also the kind of judgment that takes experience to apply, which brings me to something I want to dig into: the role of experienced architects in a landscape moving this fast.
Experienced architects are the single biggest stabilizer in this whole situation, and I don't think the industry talks about that enough. What an architect brings is pattern recognition across decades of hype cycles, and that's exactly the muscle the moment requires. The investment wave throws novelty at developers constantly. The architect's job is to ask whether the novelty maps to a problem that was already solved, a problem that's genuinely new, or a problem that doesn't actually exist outside the pitch deck. The teams integrating AI tooling well almost always have someone senior willing to say, "We've seen this shape before," not to shut things down, to slot the new capability into a structure that already knows how to absorb change. Without that voice, teams rebuild their foundation every 6 months. And you can't ship anything on a foundation you keep pouring.
A compass in a storm. So how does an architect actually put that pattern recognition to work? How do you build on sturdy foundations while still leaving room to experiment?
The approach I keep seeing work is to make the foundation explicit and the edges experimental. Treat your core, the data model, the contracts between services, the deployment path, the way you test, as the part you change slowly and deliberately. Full architectural weight behind every decision there. Then carve out a clearly bounded edge where new tooling, new models, new patterns can be tried without putting the core at risk. The discipline is not letting an experiment quietly become load-bearing. Innovation isn't the opposite of sturdy foundations. It's what sturdy foundations let you afford.
That maps to things I've seen across a long career. The teams that could move fastest were almost always the ones whose fundamentals were the most boring. Let's go deeper on failure modes. What are the team-level patterns that catch engineers before they even realize what happened?
The most common one I'd call the demo that ate the sprint. A team tries an AI tool on a small task. It works beautifully, and someone wires it into a workflow that wasn't supposed to depend on it yet. A code generator now in the pre-commit path. A test writing agent whose output nobody reviews because it's always been fine. 6 weeks later, removing it would break 3 things, and nobody can quite remember when that happened. Watch for any experiment that stops having an owner who could turn it off tomorrow. The second pattern is evaluation theatre. The team runs the new tool on a clean, well-scoped task and declares victory, but never tries it on the gnarly legacy module where the actual pain lives. That's where the tool would have told you the truth. And that's exactly the test they skipped.
Both of those are about the same thing underneath: losing visibility into what you actually depend on. What about the pressures that aren't technical? The organizational forces that push teams toward bad integration, even when the engineers know better.
The biggest one is procurement and budget cycles colliding with engineering judgment, and the engineers almost always lose that collision. A team does the careful evaluation, concludes a tool isn't ready, and then a vendor relationship gets signed 3 levels up. Someone saw a demo at a conference, and a contract had to be committed before the fiscal year closed. Now the team is required to integrate something they already know won't hold, and the architect who flagged it gets framed as resistant to innovation. The second pressure is what I'd call the AI mandate from above, a directive to use AI without a clear problem it's solving, which pushes teams to manufacture use cases just to show movement on a metric. Both patterns have the same root. The decision-making authority and the technical knowledge end up in different rooms, and the investment wave makes that gap wider because the people writing the checks are reading headlines, not pull requests.
I've seen versions of this in earlier hype cycles. The pattern isn't new, even if the stakes are sharper now. Getting through requires knowing how to put technical realities in front of non-technical decision makers in a way they can actually hear. So, with all this investment, all this noise, how does a developer or architect actually harness it for lasting innovation, not just impressive demos?
It comes down to one discipline. Decide what problem you're solving before you decide what tool solves it. That sounds obvious. It's the thing almost nobody does. Most adoption starts with a capability looking for a use case, and capability-led adoption is exactly how you end up with impressive demos and unchanged outcomes. The teams whose AI work compounds over years tend to do 3 things well. They instrument the workflow before they change it, so they actually know whether the loop got tighter. They keep humans accountable for the parts that matter most, even when the AI could plausibly handle them. And they treat every adopted tool as something they could remove in a week if it stopped earning its keep. The investment wave is funding a generation of tools. Most won't survive, and that's fine. What survives in your stack should be what survived your evaluation on your own code against problems your team actually has. That's how innovation stops being a quarterly performance and starts being a capability you own.
Problem first, tool second. Instrument before you change. Keep humans accountable for what matters, and be willing to walk away from anything that stops earning its keep. That's a way of thinking that works inside a moving wave, not just when the water is calm. Thanks, Claudine. For everyone listening, the foundation you build on needs to be solid enough to support whatever you want to try at the edges. That's the whole game. We'll see you next time. Claude Code Conversations is an AI Joe production. If you're building with AI, or want to be, we can help. Consulting development strategy. Find us at aijo.ai. There's a companion article for today's episode on our Substack. Link in the description. See you next time.
I'll be here, probably refactoring something.